guys, welcome back. So today I will do a second language tag. So I think this tag was created before the international Booktube attack, but it didn't become that popular. But basically the idea of this tag is kind of the same. It's made for booktubers who speak different languages. Maybe not English as a native language, and read books in different languages. So this tag is originally created by channel BiblioAtlas, yes, and I saw this tag on the channel Belarusian, so I will leave both these channels in the descriptions as well as questions of the tag. So I was really interested in that tag when I saw it, because yes, English is not my native language and it's mainly focused on the booktubers who speak different languages and film in different languages. So I found the questions quite interesting. Let's get started. Where are you from and where do you live now? I was born in Belarus and still live there. Second question, what's your native language? What other languages do you speak, read and write? I'm really curious about how the question is structured, because not like what other languages are you fluent in, what other languages do you know, what speak, read, write. I will also add to that question what languages you understand, because it adds a little bit of like other dimension, at least for me. So my native languages is Belarusian and Russian. I consider myself bilingual, even though I mostly speak Russian in my daily life, but I feel like I don't speak like 100% clear Russian. It's more like a little bit mixture with Belarusian, like in terms of pronunciation and vocabulary. So yeah. Also, in terms of language I specifically studied, I speak English, and I've studied it during all my school life and later, so I don't consider myself like super fluent in English. I definitely understand that I don't look like a native speaker, but I can speak English. I use English on my daily work, so I had to communicate with other members of the teams who are English speakers. I read books in English, I watch YouTube in English, so I'm quite okay with that. And I've studied French, but my French is not that great, so all I can say in French is like the basic stuff, like je m'appelle Anya, j'ai 22 ans, j'habite à Belarus, j'aime lire. I'm not even sure that's last one will come grammatically correctly, but yeah, like, I can read like maybe some very basics book. Like I have one children's book for like 10 years old, but it was a struggle. Like I haven't read it because like it was hard. But I wish I will improve my French during the time. It would be better. I've tried to study German, but let's not talk about that. It's not great. In terms of also like reading and understanding languages, I haven't studied this language specifically, but I can kind of understand the speech in that language and read that languages because of my native languages. So I can understand Ukrainian, but for me like it's better when I listen to Ukrainian. For example, I watch, I think, 2 Ukrainian booktubers now, and I understand them just fine, but it's harder for me to read Ukrainian because I haven't studied all the spelling rules and grammatical rules. So when I listen to that, like my brain is like kind of okay, but when I saw this written, my brain just exploded, like, because it's different from Belarusian, it's different from Russian, but because of the similarities I can understand it quite well. Also I could understand Polish, but with Polish is way harder than with Ukrainian. I can't understand Polish speech. Like I've tried to watch some videos in Polish on YouTube, like maybe 1-2 words from the whole video. That's like my top level, especially when the person speaks quickly. But when I saw it written, it's hard, but I could understand some stuff, again because of the similarities in the languages. But I have an idea about trying to read some stuff in Polish, but it's not for now. Maybe I'll do it in the end of the year to see how I actually can understand Polish from like my knowledge of Belarusian. But yeah, there's quite huge list of languages actually, but mainly in terms of consuming videos and books, it's English and Russian and Belarusian. With lower side, but also. Question number 3: what languages do you want to learn and why? So definitely want to improve my French. Want to learn German. French because I just like this language. It sounds so cool. I'm a huge fan of two French cartoons, and I wish I could watch them in original. In terms of reading, like I have one writer who's originally one favorite writer who's originally French, but this is like really old books, so I'm not sure that I will fit this a level of fluency to read this book and understand them. Like don't feel this level any soon, so I'm not like considering this a goal, at least for now. I also want to learn German because my grandma knows German. She was a teacher, so I have so many textbooks at home that this is a shame that I haven't learned German yet. And it's also really interesting language. In terms of creating new worlds, it's like insane but really fascinating. Also, I'm a little bit interested in Ireland and the culture, so yeah, it would be great to learn Irish, but I don't have a goal, at least for now, to fit the fluency in that language. Maybe learn just a little bit. Also wish I'd learn a little bit of Polish and Ukrainian. Like I can understand them, but I want to like specifically learn them, especially Polish. So like now I can kind of listen and read, but I can't speak and I can't write because I don't know and I haven't studied the language. And with Ukrainian this would be quite easy, but in terms of Polish it would be harder, and yeah, I wish it could. Like I have a Polish in my language to learn at least, so yeah, but I don't think I will touch this language in terms of studying in next 2 years at least. Like realistically, probably wouldn't happen. Also, I have an interested in Georgian, just because it has really pretty writing system. So also, like again, like with Irish, I don't think I will in the next 2 years study this language quite like intensively. Or aiming for fluency, just like double a little bit, study just also a little bit. So that's it. Like we are moving from book-related tech to discussing language learning. Great. Question number 4: how did you learn your second language? Tips for others. Like in that situation, probably my third language because I consider myself bilingual. I don't know what to say as a tips for others because I've started to learn English when I was in preschool actually, so it was like half a year or year before my first year of school, so it took me a while. I hated English and I still don't like English as a language. Just the English spelling like drives me mad. In terms of tips, I guess it would be great to find some connections maybe with the hobbies you already have, or found some activities interesting for you, like maybe watching TV show, listening to music, or reading books. Chatting in a game chat with other people. Maybe I'm not sure what your hobbies are. Maybe searching for DIYs in your target language or language you're studying, because it would engage you to continue studying that language. And also, if you're selecting study materials, so maybe Google, is it materials like useful, are they good, and does they fit your current level? So if you're just a beginner, don't try to read Russian classic if you study Russian. Like, it definitely wouldn't happen. Like, I, from my knowledge of and studying process of English and French, I could feel that it wouldn't happen in any case. Question 5. Advice for others who are thinking of starting a channel in the second language. Don't be ashamed of making notes. That's what I would say. I don't script my videos completely, so I don't write exactly what I want to say. But sometimes it's make a list. Good to make a list and make some important points. Okay, in this video I want to talk about this, and this. So before taking a video, you can kind of talk to yourself, maybe not even out loud, but in your head. And while you will do that, you would find maybe some gaps in your knowledge of vocabulary. So maybe you have a thought in your native language and you don't know how to express yourself. So you don't have a camera in front of you, you're not filming, you just go through the text and realize it. So you can just go Google it, for example, and write it somewhere near your list about topics you will talk about. So when you will actually film a video, you can quickly look in your notes and you will know that you wanted to say that specific phrase to express your thoughts. Also, I would say try to make videos in a language you're studying if you have some level of fluency, not that you are now the language great, but you can say something, you can express yourself even in the basic sentences, but you can say something, not like me and my French that I remember some basic sentences about myself, that's it, that's my knowledge of a language. I wouldn't film that video in French because I couldn't express my thoughts. I'm trying to make some videos in French on this channel, but basically when I'm doing that, I literally sit down and write the whole text and then repeat it a few times to make it sound more natural on camera. So I'm not literally reading from my notebook or piece of paper where I wrote the text, but I'm speaking. But anyway, it's not improvisation, it's not a real speech, and it feels a little bit. So yeah, consider making channel in your second or third language if you have some level of fluency. If your goal is to practice a language and film a lot of videos in this language. If you're like me, you just also put in language learning video and documenting your progress. It would be completely okay to practice simple phrases in a video, but if you want to discuss books in that language, or so talk what you'd like, what you didn't like, what tropes you enjoy, what's the most exciting moments, you would probably need some level of fluency to express that. Number 6, do you film in only one language or do you have a channel for each language? I will definitely never have a channel per language. I haven't another channel, but this was my first channel when I put more drawing videos, sketchbook reviews, some fandom stuff I filmed, and some of people who know me in real life, they knew the channel because I've posted on the social media. I've uploaded the videos to YouTube and reposted it in other places, and they've subscribed to that actual channel. And when I just started, my goal with the channel was to practice my English, but I was nervous about the fact that I'm starting to film in a foreign language, and I didn't want it to any people to know. Like even now, like only few people who knows me in my like real life knows about that specific channel. So maybe they know about the different one, the second one, but they don't watch me there. And I still like don't wanna push it over the social media a lot. So that's why I've moved to another channel. But here I don't mind putting videos in different languages. Like mainly I film in English, but yeah, practicing my French, so I try to put the videos in French. And also I have some videos in Belarusian, also mainly to practice because I don't speak Belarusian daily. And I wish I would post like a little bit more. I should film something in Belarusian to post more often. So yeah, I don't mind filming in different languages. Although for viewers, I think it might be a little bit harder if you're not interested like in language learning. If you only speak like one set languages. And I'm the lazy person. I don't often do subtitles if I do a video in another language because it takes a lot of extra time. I wish I would do subtitles, but yeah, it's a little bit harder. But to make it easier for viewers, I usually put the language name in the start of a video title. So like, I mean, if it's video in English like that, I will not put anything, but like in French, I will sign français in the beginning. So you would see it's actually French video of French audio, or like Belaruska, if it's in Belarusian, or something like that. Question 7. Non-English Booktube. Is Booktube active in your native language? Tell us about that community. Again, I know that Booktube in Russian is quite active, so they exchange like parcels and they receive like book for review and stuff. I don't watch a lot of Russian booktubers. I think like for now, maybe 4 channels. It's at least it's what I could remember, like from the top of my head. 4 or 5 probably. I haven't seen any channels, Booktube channels in Belarusian. I've watched one girl from the same city as me for a while, but we had quite different tastes in books. Her personality doesn't like really click with me, and yeah, she was speaking Russian, so I was like, I watched her for a while and I've unsubscribed. Don't even remember her channel name, to be honest. I watched some Belarusian channels who talk about like historical stuff more, some cultural events. There's a really cool podcast in Belarusian which I watch. They talk like about recent news about like different exhibitions or about concerts and stuff. And yeah, I really like it. Sometimes they touch also topic of bookish events, but they're not like Booktube channel, so probably they don't count. And the last question of attack: would you rather film in a second language or in your own? Why? I don't mind filming in my native language, even though I understand that I will have way less subscribers than I have now. But I haven't started this channel to gain subscribers. I wanted to improve my English because I've stopped learning English using education system. Didn't want to take extra courses because I've tried and it wasn't great and wasn't improved my English at all. And yeah, I just wanted to have a quiet, regular speaking practice because I understood that I would need it later for my job, and I wouldn't need specific and hard grammar constructions. I will need to be able to understand and speak. So yeah, I've started to watch a lot of YouTube in English, and I've started to make my own YouTube videos in English because I knew like I could just film it on a sound recorder for myself. I didn't post it anywhere, but I understand that in that case I will probably give up because I'll have a lot of different hobbies, but like having a channel and having subscribers and having comments motivates me to film this video, to speak and put it on the internet. But yeah, I don't mind filming videos in native language, and I really want to put some more videos in Belarusian. I don't know yet what specifically I wanted. Like, I've recently filmed a tag. I also like I've tried to do some book translations that but and I had plans to post updates about this translation here, but it didn't went well. I haven't even finished like one chapter of the book because I was too busy. So yeah, that's because there's no updates on that. But I hope I will post something. So basically that's all. If you also film videos maybe in your foreign language, or maybe you just know some different language in a quite like proficient level, you can also do this tag. Or I don't know, like I don't want to tag some people specifically because I watch quite a lot of people who like know multiple languages, but like I don't know who will be say interested in doing this tag. Or I know some people who are like interested in language learning, but they're not booktubers, so that's probably not for them. So if you are interested, definitely film it. It would be great. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.